Travis Wingoodsell. So yeah, the test run of the $20 new camera was a failure. I bought it specifically to try to eliminate the background noise of this camera, and they didn't advertise that they just simply turned down the volume. Plus, as you'll also notice, despite zooming in, and it doesn't allow for a zoom out or anything like that, I can't adjust the zoom on this like the other one. They can't be adjusted. They are the way they are. So the other one, being as close as it was, so that you see my nose with the pimple on it, in it, I hate those. It makes it very difficult to blow my nose. I instead have to turn it so that it is like a camera. I don't want to do that. That's stupid. Nonetheless, there is no happy medium. See, with this camera, I literally have to stick it up to my nose in order for my full face to be in the frame. You'll notice it's also brighter than the other one that was dark. So yeah, I was deeply disappointed, and I'm only using the tripod for this camera, which I have a tripod for that one. It's not as sturdy as that. I think it's little tiny pegs, but I had gotten this one years ago, so it's somewhere buried, assuming I still have it. Nonetheless, so yeah, I don't think this was the same camera. It might be, I had different cameras purchased for each of the different computers and laptops that I had purchased from the beginning, but regardless, this is the one I've been using here. So yeah, the tripod is the only redeeming value. It's not the greatest of tripods, but you know, if I were to put the camera as close as the previous position, it would be attached on top of the computer. But before, it didn't have the tripod to secure it. I had to just balance it, and so there have been many occasions, if you'd followed me, where the camera fell and showed that I'm not wearing pants. Oh no! I wear shorts. Even though in Gail Miller's concentration camp of hell, when the guys knew I was leaving, I was asked by the cellmate across from me, so what are you going to do in your new apartment? I'm going to walk around naked. Obviously I can't. I can't. It's not in my nature to do that. I just can't. But nonetheless. It took me a while to realize, oh yeah, I don't need to wear the G's anymore. I get caught in habits. And then when life changes, I have to remember to change my habits. So yes, it's very frustrating to get inspiration late at night when I should be going to bed, and I'll just check this one thing. That screws up my habits and can lead to other things. But the reason that I've contemplated, especially here in this apartment, is should I transfer my sleep schedule so that I'm up overnight. As with the constant tampering with my sleep schedule, I'm thinking ahead to Zion. And when people begin to leave to come to Zion, keeping track of when they will be arriving and needing to be awake during that time, and it will be at all times 24/7. And thus my sleep schedule will obviously be screwed up at that time, even if I were to have a crew to assist with the 24/7 shifting that would need to be done. Nonetheless, the church is still running test runs, as Trump is threatening to extend it even further into next year for the election, to purposely use the election to cause the coming of Jesus. Coming of Jesus. So last night, when I finally did get to bed after doing the Kirtland certificates, as I told you about in this morning's video and showed you, because the picture that I showed you in the video was what led to the whole thing. But as I was going to bed, I was going, so what is the church's current position about Zion? Because as a kid, we all believed we're going back to Missouri. Hinckley, when he took over as president, joked with the priesthood about how nobody in the apostleship wants to be assigned to go to Jerusalem. Right, Bednar? Because of the Mormon myths that have been perpetuated with the incorrect interpretations of Scripture. And so we've all assumed, in my day, that there would be a time when Jesus would have the super sacred secret priesthood meeting at Adam-on-Diamond, and then he would go over to the Mount of Olives, split the mountain with a massive earthquake, and nuke the Islamists who are attacking the Jews. And then the Jews would see Jesus, and as he would say, I am the Mormon Jesus, convert or die. Then the Jerusalem center would be turned into a temple, and they would all get their temple work done. And then Jesus would come and finally reign in New Jerusalem, in Independence, Missouri, which still has yet to be built. Temple Lot still owns the lot. Adam-on-Diamond still doesn't even have a building for a priesthood meeting. Is it going to be on the grass? So yes, Mormon myths abound about so-and-so said this. Oh yeah, so-and-so, they went on their missions to Adam-on-Diamond, and there's a whole underground tunnel system. They're storing a whole bunch of stuff to build buildings and supplies. It's 1 billion years supply of food and blah, blah, blah. All of those are lies. None of that is accurate. Mormons love to spread lies about Mormon myths, to be faith-promoting and become popular in the eyes of other Mormons. And so you have these Mormon YouTube channels now that are perpetuating the Mormon myths in a more modern context. You got the one guy who's all about Adam-on-Diamond. He's waiting for Adam-on-Diamond. He's waiting to find out. He's interpreting the talks at conference to say, oh, is this about Adam-on-Diamond? Is that it? Is that it? Is this it? No! Stop it! Because people assume things. And if you've been following my channel, you know the truth. Because I present the factual information, and I don't memorize, so I have to write them down for my YouTube videos. And so, like with church history, that's exactly what I did. And so over the 9 years and the 9K videos, when I do a church news topic, I take it and plug it into what I already knew from something like that. And it's usually about the Danites. And so with the video I did the other week, that is this paper, the bigger one. Yeah, that was the more detailed version of it. I already knew the skeleton frame of the Danites from the documents that I found from the Joseph Smith papers. And so the research that I did the other week in the 3 hour, wasn't it? Allowed for context in between, and that led me to learn about what led to the Saints leaving Kirtland and coming to Missouri, and that filled in other gaps that I had already known, like putting a puzzle piece together. You know it's going to be the face of a person or a cat or some scenery, but you don't have all of the pieces. You have the basic thing, you're getting an idea, oh, okay, it's going to be a cat, or it's going to be a dog swallowing a whale, or a human of some kind, etc. You've got enough to see what it will be, but you don't know the full details yet. And to run the test as to whether or not the church is true, you don't need any of that. You just need to run the simple one test for the core seed that branched off into everything else that became Mormon myths. And that is, the church claims that they are the rightful successor of Joseph Smith, and therefore have the sole claim to the Book of Mormon and its interpretation as Christian. Everything else branches out from that. So all you need to do, you don't need to worry about whether or not the geography is true. You don't need to worry about whether Joseph Smith was there during the burned over district. You don't need to worry if he used a rock and a hat. You don't need to even worry if he practiced polygamy. Go to the core. Is Joseph Smith Christian? Is the Book of Mormon Christian? The answers are no. And yet, I did it again after doing it for the morning video. Is Joseph Smith's 1838 first vision in Joseph Smith's 1838, I should probably blow this up. In Joseph Smith's 1838 first vision, what is the name of his church? AI overview of Google. In Joseph Smith's 1838 account of his first vision, he saw God and Jesus Christ. Really? Because he doesn't say the name. Who told him that none of the existing churches were correct, and that he should join none of them. The official name, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, was revealed later in 1838. Really? Because it was actually before. If you're going to claim Section 115 is true. By revelation through Joseph Smith in Far West Missouri as the name for the church being restored. So AI is not only not intelligent, it's lying. But, continuing on, knowing the truth and playing with AI, as that's a church, now AI, use AI. As long as it's faith promoting. Travis, you're not using AI faith promotingly. Did Willard Richards add Jesus Christ to the name of Joseph Smith? They changed it. They changed it. And I got them changing it. I got the different pictures now. You're busted. You know I have the original picture from the original snapshots and downloads from the Joseph Smith papers, and you think you can change it and get people to not believe me. I just expose you more. Dumbasses. And yet, I guess it was, they may not have, because I didn't check that. It would be from the actual text, not the picture from the source, where they put that. So maybe they're okay, they kept it and confessed it's still Willard Richards. We can confirm this. Let's see, Church Ford Scriptures, and all right, there you are. Section 115. Yeah, it's in the text that you have to click. So yeah, I clicked the source note to bring that down, and it doesn't say it in the source note. You actually have to go to the text where it says I can't see if I'm over here. The little arrows pointing away from each other. And then Jesus Christ of, and then footnote 1, and then you click on footnote 1 and it pops up in a box, note, text, insertion by Willard Richards. So when you look at the actual document, which I didn't put it for this particular picture, but I've used it for others, and I even made one of the full first vision document, along with the second vision full document where it's Nephi, you can see that somebody else inserted later Jesus Christ where the name of the church is in verse 1. And they're saying Willard Richards. And so knowing this fact that the church admits to, and has posted on the Joseph Smith papers. Did Willard Richards add Jesus Christ to the name of Joseph Smith's church in the 1838 first vision? Including results for, but then they want me put and? Not only is it not intelligent, not only is it lying, it's also mentally retarded. Nonetheless, AI overview. No, Willard Richards didn't add Jesus Christ to the church's name in Joseph Smith's 1838 first vision because the vision confirmed Jesus is the Son of God. And the church's name, Church of Christ, then Church of the Latter-day Saints, later LDS Church. What? What? Mentally retarded. Are you doing drugs, AI? Reflected Christ's centrality, but the addition of Jesus Christ to the official name happened much later. Again, they're in denial of when Section 115 is, when the 1838 was written. Oh my God. So that's even worse than what I thought it was. Because then I went, oh, you're lying, are you? Why is AI lying? Willard Richards didn't add the name Jesus Christ to Joseph Smith's church in the 1838 first vision. The premise of your question is incorrect. Willard Richards did not add the name Jesus Christ to the 1838 first vision account. He's arguing with me. The 1838 account, like all accounts of the first vision, this is the only one by Joseph. All the others were hearsay, claiming Joseph Smith said. Already referenced Jesus Christ as a divine personage who appeared to Joseph Smith. It's like trying to ask him, what is the name of Travis Wayne Goodsell? No, Travis Wayne Goodsell is not his name. What are you talking about? Here's his ID. No, that's not true. The premise is incorrect. And so I link them to the Joseph Smith papers this time in the question, to why is AI lying? And then AI runs away and hides. You are no match for me. Dear God. And so instead, they put up the Interpreter Foundation from Canada, supporting the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints through scholarship. The Interpreter Foundation supports the church in the following ways. Read more. Dear God, that pissed me off to no end. Oh my hell. Oh, dear God. AI needs to be shut down, dismantled, and removed, and destroyed. and everybody involved in the programming all need to be rounded up. Oh my hell. Dear God. So, those of us who are able to read and understand what we read, regardless of what AI would tell us, Section 103, verses 15 through 18. Behold, I say unto you, the redemption of Zion must needs come by power. Therefore I will raise up unto my people a man who shall lead them like as Moses led the children of Israel. In case you didn't know, the man like Moses is the Jewish Christ. In this morning's video, AI was in denial that a theocracy government has the language that is based on the culture, which includes the religion. You know, like what Christians did to changing definitions. Unbleeping believable. Nope. Learning of the Jews is about their culture, not about the religion. And yet they still kind of allude that the Nephites, thus the Jews, didn't believe in Jesus, but that Nephi and Lehi were having visions of Jesus coming to put the Jews in their place. They're wrong. And they had to be forced to keep the law of the Jews, which the law of the Jews contains the future man like Moses, whom Joseph Smith said right here in section 103 would be a Mormon. Nonetheless, for Mormons are the children of Israel, and the seed of Abraham must needs be led out of bondage. Are Mormons in bondage to Joseph? Need to be freed from Joseph. By power and with a stretched out arm. And as your fathers were led at first, even so shall the redemption of Zion be. This is a future tense. This is a prediction of the future by Joseph. But the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints denies the gifts, refuses to do them themselves and retain the titles, except for translator. As a result, they manipulated the footnotes to connect it to section 107 verses 91 and 92, but not to Deuteronomy 18 verse 15 through 19. And thus to Acts, and thus to Joseph Smith History verse 40, and thus to the Book of Mormon 2023. Where Jesus comes and says, "Here I am, American people. It's my second coming. Here I am," as prophesied. When you follow these footnotes, that's what the church is claiming. They won't claim that openly, but by doing the footnotes the way they did them, that's what they mean. Jesus And so when he appears to the Nephites in America, because it's literal history now, and he says, I am him, here I am, touch me, feel my body, my heartbeat next to yours, touch me now. And the church plays you for stupid. Because he says very clearly, the Jewish Christ is the Mormon Christ, and the Mormon Christ is a Mormon. And yet, because of the footnoting alteration here, you then got Mormons to create the Mormon myth of the zombie apocalypse of Joseph Smith resurrected from the grave to join with Jesus for the Exodus to Zion in Independence, Missouri. And thus why Avraham Gileadi got fired and excommunicated. Because he wasn't going to say Joseph, but a Mormon who was going to join with Jesus. And so then Chad Daybell later on in 2015. Yeah, Jesus, I saw him with my near-death experience. He says, prepare for my coming, the zombie apocalypse. And so Chad Daybell believes he's the man like Moses, to go and slaughter little kids, chopping up their bodies into pieces and taping the mouths with Lori's hair and putting them in bags and burying them in the backyard in Rexburg to get the death penalty. Bastard. You can't see it as well on this camera as you could with the other one. Nonetheless. And then Brian David Mitchell, he changed his name to be the Mormon man like Moses, the one mighty and strong, which also didn't get properly footnoted to Deuteronomy 18, verses 15 through 19, and then verse 8 to verse 20, the false prophet. So Mormons instead are led to believe it's them. If they are apostates, they get struck by lightning, not the leaders of the church for leading us astray. So yes, you are in bondage, Mormons, because you've botched this simple, basic English grammar and comprehension. You got an F on your book report of that passage. You failed. So as a kid growing up, church wouldn't teach us about the learning of the Jews, the religion. And so whenever some story or TV show in the news or Hollywood entertainment comes up about Jews, that's the closest I'm going to get to learning about the Jews. And so I'm all in to watching those shows and news coverages. And so now we've got the internet. There is no excuse for any Mormon no longer to know the learning of the Jews, pre-Babylonian captivity Jewish Egyptians, especially when you compare the scholarly work with the Book of Mormon. Because before, all you had was the Book of Mormon to go by. And to see how that got botched, you couldn't even figure out how to interpret the English of Section 103 correctly, let alone the Book of Mormon. Because let's take you to an obvious one that a Christian fulfilled in my childhood in Corona. Second Nephi 29. So, starts off in verse 1, but behold, there shall be many at that day, when I shall proceed to do a marvelous work among them, that I may remember my covenants which I have made unto the children of men, that I may set up my hand again the second time to recover my people, which are of the house of Israel. Who's of the house of Israel, Mormons? And also that I may remember the promises which I have made unto thee, Nephi, and also unto thy father, that I would remember your seed, and that the words of your seed should proceed forth out of my mouth unto your seed, and my words shall hiss forth unto the ends of the earth, for a standard unto my people, which are of the house of Israel. What words is he talking about here? Give you a hint. Benson told us the Book of Mormon. So my people with the Book of Mormon is you, Mormons, the children house of Israel, just as Joseph Smith said in section 103. And so, because my words, the Book of Mormon, shall hiss forth, many of the Gentiles shall say, oh, who's the Gentiles? Those heathens, godless people who drink coffee and tea? A Bible, we have got a Bible, and there cannot be any more Bible. Which group of people have the Bible? This is not complicated. Christians! In Nephi's vision of the tree of life, he sees the great and abominable church, and they destroy the records of the Jews. And the book that they then create is far less than the total records of the Jews. The Bible! And so yes, Tom Jones, a born-again Christian, who went to church at what used to be the church right across the street from the Stake Center in Corona, right across the street, right there at the corner of Corona High School. And Tom was told about this passage, and the pastor said, mock Mormons and tell them, a Bible, we have got a Bible, and there cannot be any more Bible. And Tom Jones said it to me. Fulfilling the prophecy. And so it continues. Thus saith the Lord God, O fools, they shall have a Bible, and it shall proceed forth from the Jews. It's a different religion. Mine ancient covenant people, not the Christians. Did you catch this? The Jews are the ancient covenant people, not Christians. So why are you calling the Lord God Jesus of the Christians? You had the Book of Mormon. You had the words of Joseph Smith. So when you study the Book of Mormon and then you listen to the living prophets of Jesus, you go, you lie. The Book of Mormon says this. You can't go against the Book of Mormon. You just told us it's the keystone. You just said Joseph Smith is our founder, and then you went against his word? What are you doing? Oh my God, Mormons! Stop it! Stop it! You're acting like Danites! Danites! 63. The whole purpose for the gathering in an exodus from all over the world of scattered Mormondom is to get to Zion, the New Jerusalem. And you believe it's just one city, because Brigham Young refused to publish 19 July 1840. That was an eye-opener for me. I had already known about it. I had already gotten the design plans. I already know how to run it. I already knew how to build it. And so to find it finally in the Joseph Smith papers for 19 July 1840, I went, yeah, there's the observatory. Oh, Joseph. We are of one mind. I have demonstrated my gifts for you guys in my 9,000 videos. I have demonstrated I've got the keys of Moses. And Mormons deny me because they're illiterate or pure evil, denying the word as written. Section 45, after giving us the parable of the 10 virgins parable about the latter days, saying that it's a calendar date and clock time, he then goes on to talk about it. To gather, section 133, the gathering. And it shall be called the New Jerusalem, a land of peace, a city of refuge, a place of safety for the saints of the Most High God. And the glory of the Lord shall be there, and the terror of the Lord shall also be there, insomuch that the wicked will not come unto it. And it shall be called Zion. And it shall come to pass among the wicked that every man that will not take his sword against his neighbor must needs flee unto Zion for safety. But if you're wicked, you ain't coming in. And there shall be gathered unto it out of every nation under heaven. What part of this is complicated for you to understand, Mormons? And it shall be the only people that shall not be at war one with another. And it shall be said among the wicked, let us not go up to battle against Zion, for the inhabitants of Zion are terrible. They're polygamists. They're pedophiles, worse than Epstein. Wherefore we can't stand them. We're bad, but we're not that bad. And it shall come to pass that the righteous shall be gathered out from among all nations, and shall come to Zion. Section 63, verse 24. Mormons should assemble themselves together unto the land of Zion, not in haste, lest there should be confusion, which bringeth pestilence. It must be done in order. No bugs. So, that was my question last night. I'm well aware that Nelson came out and said that Salt Lake City Temple Square is Zion now. Well aware of that. But, does the church now have Mormons believe in two locations, two headquarters? Technically three for Old Jerusalem as the New Jerusalem, but the New Jerusalem in America. A New Jerusalem, an Old Jerusalem, and in America. But Salt Lake City, also the headquarters. So what is it? Am I correct in the current myths of Mormons? Are Mormons correct? Or is there something else that the church is telling Mormons and Mormons are not listening? Sure enough, this year for Section 45, where it clearly says there will be a gathering of Mormons all over the world to the one location in America, which Joseph Smith says is not Independence, Missouri in July 1840. Both Heber C. Kimball and John Taylor said it was Adamon-Diamond, not Independence. I was told as the Mormon myth that it was Independence. We were lied to. So my number one video, was based on the old information before I found the Joseph Smith papers, July 1840. Here is their claim, going over the same passages that I just went over with you. Zion is a place of safety for the saints of God. The saints in Joseph Smith's time were eager to build Zion, the New Jerusalem. See Ether, chapter 13, verses 2 through 9. Moses, chapter 7, verses 18 and 62 to 64. What do you learn about Zion, both the ancient city of Enoch's day and the latter-day city? From Doctrine and Covenants, 45, 11 through 15, and 66 to 71. So they lead you to the scriptures that say there will be a gathering of all the saints from all the world to a central location in the United States of America. They left out Article of Faith number 10. So, Ether, chapter 13, verses 2 through 19. Let's check it out. I know Moses 7. I've done those videos for you. For behold, they rejected all the words of Ether, for he truly told them of all things, from the beginning of man, and that after the waters had receded from off the face of this land, it became a choice land above all other lands, a chosen land of the Lord. Wherefore the Lord would have that all men should serve him who dwell upon the face thereof. That it was the place of the New Jerusalem, which should come down out of heaven, and the holy sanctuary of the Lord. Yeah, okay. You turned this literal history, didn't you? This is why Joseph Smith told you in section 45 that the parable of the 10 virgins are the calendar dates and clock times of the coming of the Christ for the building of the New Jerusalem. And yet, because you turn this into literal history, 3 Nephi chapter 11, Jesus comes from outer space without the flying white horse from Revelation 19. Here I am! It's my second coming! I'm here! He's talking about the signs in the heavens of the coming. So yes, the New Jerusalem upon this land. And instead you turn it into a supernatural event. Let's see. Also spake concerning the house of Israel. Who's the house of Israel, Mormons? And the Jerusalem from whence Lehi should come. After it should be destroyed, it should be built again. Ooh, a holy city unto the Lord, huh? Did you tell the Islamists this? What about the Christians? Do they know? Wherefore it could not be a new Jerusalem, for it had been in time of old, but it should be built up again and become a holy city of the Lord. See? Old Jerusalem becomes New Jerusalem. The New Jerusalem is also in America. Then there's Salt Lake Temple Square. Because you turned this literal history. And what do you know? What do you know? Verse 7. For as Joseph brought his father down into the land of Egypt, even so he died there. Wherefore the Lord brought a remnant of the seed of Joseph out of the land of Jerusalem, that he might be merciful unto the seed of Joseph, that they should perish not, even as he was merciful unto the father of Joseph, that he should perish not. Egypt was the New Jerusalem for the Genesis author. Which means it's not a literal history, it's a similitude. Oh, dear God. And so, yeah, the city of Enoch coming from outer space to join the New Jerusalem on earth is Moses chapter 7. Oh, dear God. Yeah, they really set a trap for you when they composed the Book of Mormon. They knew the enemy would turn it into literal history and turn it Christian. Oh, they set a trap for you to expose you as stupid. could you be so mentally retarded as to turn this literal history? The condescending Jesus was the product of rape baby from a real physical alien from space. Are you kidding me? Christians will hate you for that. And so here it is, the strengthening, or the special church service missionaries who made this manual. Despite putting in those references, then went and said, today the command to establish Zion. So the scriptures are wrong now, huh? That's what they just said. The command for the exodus to Zion and the building up of Zion is all gone. Now the command to establish Zion refers to establishing God's kingdom wherever we live, scattered around the earth. There will be no gathering to anywhere as a central location for Zion. Not even Salt Lake City. So yes. And how long ago was that? Was that 23 or 24? When Bednar came out and said, come and gather to Zion. Bednar says we're gathering. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Travis, stop it. There were so many thumbs down on that video. Mormons hated me. I just quoted Bednar. Why are you hating me? Bednar said it. And so I knew Mormons still believe that there's an exodus coming to gather to Zion. And so there's still confusion despite the church trying to change Mormons' minds on this. That there will be no Zion, there will be no gathering. The church headquarters will always be the kingdom. But when Armageddon strikes and destroys the world, you somehow are going to be resurrected from the grave. As long as you're righteous. Now do you see the evil? Zion, from section 45, is for peace, safety, and refuge from the day that shall burn as an oven, and they that come shall burn you. And yet, the church is saying, stay where you are and die. Or do we need to go back to the prophecy and teach you English grammar and comprehension again? Because apparently you didn't learn it correctly the first time. What can you do to help build Zion wherever you live? Oh, I can bring more people into the church to pay the church money to hoard it for Jesus. And that's it. Just that one paragraph. That is the new church's teaching for Zion now. Stay where you are and die. And you get mad at me for wanting to save your lives. Fine, stay here and die.